name's Kendra. Today we're starting a new chapter in this great book of Ezekiel, chapter 27. And this is a study that was written by Pastor Lancelot Knight of the former King's Chapel. And he wrote this about, 23 years ago. So we've learned a lot since then. More seals have been opened. We have new understanding. So I make some comments from time to time. And I'll try to make it so you know it's me and my comments and not something that Lance Knight wrote, in case you're not following along with the screen here. So let's get started. Chapter 27. All right. Do you realize that everything we need to know about what is happening and what is going to happen in this final generation, we can see a type of and a fulfillment of in his story? That's his story. The old tried and tested and proven proverb that says, history repeats itself, really tells us that history is prophecy, doesn't it? Yeshua Messiah foretold us in Matthew 24 and Mark 13 that in the final generation, after the threat of wars had ceased to be cause for alarm, that nation would rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. A closer look at the Greek language used here will easily show that what Yeshua was talking about was commercial globalization. Nation means ethnos, and is in basically third world countries, and kingdom means royal, as in the free and leading nations of the world. They would all rise, which means to stand up in the marketplace, against, which is epi, meaning alongside of one another. And that is exactly what is happening under globalization with the Eurodollar and dollarization and the IMF and the World Bank and the new economy of e-commerce. Those who have studied the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation know that the first beast of Revelation 13 is a political system, and that this beast will finally control the world of trade and commerce to the extent that if you are not part of that system, you will not be able to buy or sell in the marketplace. But did you know that under Imperial Rome, if I'm not mistaken, back then, if you were not an active member of the Roman Catholic Church, you could not buy or sell? So it's possible this prophecy's already been fulfilled. Let's continue. Before the advances of modern computer technology, people wondered how that would be possible. Now it is easy to see that it is not only possible, it is a reality to those with eyes to see. Right now, there is no pledge or religious requirement to be part of the system other than to remain politically correct in the business place, but that will change when the false Messiah appears. I'm going to stop here a minute, and I know there are many religious denominations that believe the false Messiah has not yet appeared, but there's another viewpoint that suggests that he's already here and has been here, ruling and controlling the churches since they were first set up by the Roman Catholic Church. For example, we have these pagan holidays called Easter and Christmas that were introduced into Christianity, whereby Easter's adopted or adapted from the word Ishtar. Ishtar was a pagan goddess. They had sexual orgies in the groves, and Easter eggs are a symbol of fertility. Quick like a bunny. Bunnies are fertility symbols. And basically they worshipped reproduction and not creation. So that's been going on in our churches. Look how many children have these Easter egg hunts every year. So theoretically, Satan's already here, already in our churches, controlling our churches. Now we have come to the 27th chapter of the book of the End Time Watchman, Ezekiel. In chapter 26, we learn that Yahweh declared that he was going to destroy that ancient world trading center of Tyre, and that it would never again be rebuilt, i.e., it would be no more, gone forever. We learn that this great commercial city was a type the foreshadowing of the great city of Babylon in the end time, which we also know from Revelation 18 will be destroyed and will also be no more. So, in this 27th chapter, we are presented with a lamentation, which is a sad song, even a funeral dirge, which will eulogize the great attributes of this once awesome world trading center. Within this lamentation, we are going to see the operation of that first beast of Revelation chapter 13, the merchandising of which is described in the 17th chapter of Revelation. Then, in chapter 28 of Ezekiel, we will see the characterization of the prince and the king of Tyre, who is the second beast of Revelation 13, the religious beast, even Satan himself. Okay, I just want to stop here for a minute and suggest to you that the second beast is Papal Rome, which has already been established and in existence today. Also, we stated in our last study that these chapters are not difficult at all to understand at this late stage in the clearly visible formation or rising of the New World Order. The first beast, one needs only to compare this chapter 27 with what is actually happening in today's world markets. Even if you are not familiar with the history and the cultural characteristics of the ancient nations described in this chapter, just know that all the materials and the labor, etc., which was possessed by Tyre, came from the nations of that day that were known to produce the best there is of their respective goods or services. She was a beauty, and she had all the glitter and glamour that was available to her in that day. Finally, inasmuch as Tyre is the type of modern-day Babylon, it was by her great wealth that she wielded both mercantile and political clout. Remember, she held off siege from the king Nebuchadnezzar for 13 years. Do you really think he couldn't have taken her if he wanted to? Money talks. This gives us a great view of how the powers of the four hidden dynasties are able to control peoples and nations. There is nothing new under the sun. You see, this trafficking hub is exactly how Satan seeks to operate centers of influence, and it is his idea of how things should be. It is even how things were in the first earth age before Yahweh destroyed it. Though Yahweh's people and other nations supplied the labor, the expertise in craftsmanship, and moved the goods and services of Tyre, it was the Kenites, and I might add here, those Kenites are the Edomite Jews of today, who made the deals with nations and controlled the markets and the economics of the system through usury and the first central bank of Tyre, just as they do today through the Federal Reserve banking system and the other central banks of every nation. Note, for an explanation of how money works and how the privately owned usurious debt system of central banking is used to enslave nations, write to us for the free booklet, The Hidden Dynasty of the Economy. I might try to do an audio recording. I have that book, so hopefully in the future I'll get an opportunity to do that for you. Let's begin the lamentation of Tyre. Ezekiel 27, verse 1. The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, verse 2, Now, thou son of man, take up a lamentation for Tyrus. Again, this lamentation is a sad song, even a funeral dirge, which eulogizes the great attributes of this once awesome World Trade Center. You know, there are numerous sad songs, lamentations in Scripture, but none of them have their melodies recorded. This lamentation is about how great Tyre was, so maybe we could do a parody on the hymn, How Great Thou Art. It could go something like this. I miss my doe, O Tyre, where art thee? How great thou was, how great thou was. I love the wealth and power you gave me. How great thou was, how great thou was. Verse 3. And say to Tyrus, O thou that art situate at the entry of the sea, which art a merchant of the people, for many isles, thus saith Yahweh, Yahweh, O Tyrus, thou hast said, I am perfect of beauty. Tyre was ideally situated on a rock island about a half a mile from the mainland, and she had ports all around her whereby ships could enter from both the north and the south ends of the island. This enabled any ship to find a port no matter which direction the winds might blow. Yes, Tyrus was a type of Babylon the Great of this end time, the perfect city of Satan's beautiful one-world system, whereby through the wielding of economic power, the control of education, politics, and religion could be achieved. Take a look around the world today, and you will see the same system of Satan's enormous influence and control using the four hidden dynasties of debt economics, corrupt politics, miseducation, and false religion. Verse 4. Thy borders are in the midst of the seas, thy builders have perfected thy beauty. The analogy used to describe Tyrus in this lamentation is that of an exquisitely crafted ship made from the finest materials available in the world and constructed by the world's greatest artisans. Her location and the fact that she had the best mariners and the most skillful pilots made her the perfect world trade center of her day, the mother of all commercial vessels that rides upon the waters. Waters equals people. See Revelation 17, verse 15. The next few verses describe the qualities of her perfection. Ezekiel 27, verse 5. They have made all thy shipboards of fir trees of Senir. They have taken cedars from Lebanon to make masts for thee. She was like a ship built from the finest fir from Senir, with a mast from the grand tall cedars of Lebanon. Symbolically, the cedars of Lebanon represent Yahweh's children, who are central and necessary to sail the ship of commerce for the Kenites or Jews. Verse 6. Of the oaks of Bashan have they made thine oars, the company of the Asherites have made thy benches of ivory, brought out of the isles of Chittim. When we get to chapter 31, we will find that Satan is likened to a lowly box cedar, which is a T-asher in Hebrew. The word Asherites used here means the same thing, of a box cedar, and the company thereof are little branches from the T-asher, i.e., they are the Kenites, or what we know now as the Edomite Jew. See note on verse 6 in Companion Bible on page 1143. Verse 7. Fine linen with broidered work from Egypt was that which thou spreadest forth to be thy sail. Blue and purple from the isles of Elisha, that was that which covered thee. The ancients often went to a great expense to embroider their sails, especially the Egyptians, whose linen was of the finest quality. Again, the city of Tyre is the forerunner, the type of the great city of Babylon of Revelation 17, who, rather than being likened to a ship, is likened to a whore, even a commercial whore, if you know what I mean. And she is a city, even the great city of Jerusalem, the home of the little Asherites today. Revelation 17, verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is like that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Did you notice in verse 7 that the ship of Tyre was covered with the royal colors of blue and purple, just like that great city in these end times? Revelation 17, verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones, and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. In our next study, we will read about the multitude of nations that were entangled in the worldwide training web of Tyre. Okay, this ends today's study. We'll pick it up next time in chapter 27, beginning with verse 8. I hope you're enjoying this and enjoyed today's lecture. If so, please give it a thumbs up, and until next time, may Yahweh richly bless you. Amen.